if I listen to something like this and I deduce that it's pretty meaningless and just about fashion, does that make me a bad person? But yeah, listen, I hope it's clear. I don't hate these people. It's not about hating on them. I want to learn as much as I can. Problem is, everything I watch doesn't teach me anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to think. I'm just a bad person. There's nothing I can do about it. Because when I listen to this kind of stuff, it just sounds like internalized stereotypes.
You're anti-trans.
I look 43. Listen, I deserve that. From you, I deserve that. Because I said you looked early 50s. All right, next thing I wanted to look at, I've got I am not a girl or a boy. My transition is a non-binary person. I'm always interested in these, in like what the story is, what we're calling what this is. I am not a girl or a boy. My transition is a non-binary person. In this deeply personal video, I share my beginning of a journey of discovering that I'm non-binary. You don't really discover that, you decide it, but okay. Realization that changed everything. For years, I struggled to understand my gender identity. I knew I didn't fit neatly in the categories of girl or boy. I didn't have the words to express it. See, things like this, like, does anyone really identify that much as a girl or a boy? Aren't you just you? I don't know, man. Eventually, I discovered what it means to be non-binary. That's when everything started to make sense. Got mindful together with the, is that how you say that? I'm not sure. It's interesting, girl's name, going for a very feminine aesthetic, but we're saying non-binary. But listen.
Hi everyone, my name is Thea and this is my first ever video on YouTube. I decided to start a vlog about my journey of transition as a non-binary person because
I wonder where they're from. I can't quite place the accent. It sounds like Eastern European, like towards Russia.
I didn't find many representation of folks like me, and I would like to share this journey and share with you all my tips that I'm learning.
Is it just me that's getting like Justin Hawkins vibes? I can imagine this guy fronting like a Darkness cover band or something like that.
On the way, struggles you should prepare yourself for, and also to build a community of trans, feminine, non-binary, trans-masculine folk.
I mean, I'll say one thing. Starting a YouTube channel is certainly one way to build a community if that's what you want to do.
That want to share their experience as well, because in 2025 being trans person is difficult and it's a lot to deal with. So
is it that difficult? I mean, I guess it is. I think the reason it looks difficult to me is more how crazy people are going and like what communities are like for scaremongering and riling each other up. I think if you exist outside of all that shit and just get on with your life, it's really not that hard. Not if you're like white and native to your country and in a country where broadly people are accepting, which is true in places like the UK, whether people want to think so or not.
So let's get into my story. So long story short, it started when I was a kid and I always loved to put a t-shirt on my head, pretending that I have long hair, I'm feminine, you know, dressing in my...
So starting straight away with the stereotypes, it's never great. Enjoying a different fashion sense to the average guy doesn't mean that you're like non-binary. It just means that your preferences are different. There shouldn't be a problem with that.
My mom clothes, all these typical things, which also a lot of gay guys share. But the difference when I was like going back in the past and thinking about it was that when I was in my preteen years, like I was like 10, 11, I really grew my hair long, like that by the shoulders.
It's so strange. Whenever you see like women talking about why they're non-binary and stuff like that, there was an awful lot of like, oh, well, I just really hated having long hair and then I got to have my hair cut short and then I had like euphoria and stuff. And it's like, this is just a guy being like, well, then I grew my hair long and then I got euphoria and stuff. It's like, it's so strange. Is there really nothing else to this than the length of your hair and like your fashion choices? I'm really trying to be open-minded. Here's the classic autistic thinking I mentioned earlier. I have long hair, I like X, therefore I am Y. Yeah, possibly.
I remember first experience of going out with my long hair and with my big sunglasses. And there was a group of guys and they started to shout me, "Are you a girl or are you a boy?" And at this moment I remember that I felt a weird satisfaction within myself because I liked the way that I'm confusing people and they cannot tell what gender I am.
This is another thing that doesn't mean that you're not what you are, of course.
Continued this journey for another 1 or 2 years. Then the puberty hit me, and around 13 years old, I started to feel a lot of hormones, a lot of testosterone in my body. And by the time I was 14, I decided to,
Thank you, Nomad. Hope you're good. And then you just like the attention. Yeah, maybe. Sometimes these people feel invisible. Sometimes no one really notices them for any reason. So they start doing something that gets them attention. Is it really about the fact that you're confusing people as to what gender you are? Or is it the fact that you don't feel invisible?
my body started to change. I started to
Binary category errors. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know. I try and think back, like, whether that kind of was the thing that I did. But I think, honestly, I was, like, so unable to, like, love or care of myself that seemed like a way out. So I don't know if I was doing quite the same thing.
to have more masculine features, and I also realized I'm gay. And so I wanted to embrace this masculine part of myself because I know I'm gonna be more attractive to guys, right? So I cut my hair short, I started to work in the gym a little bit, and I started to dating with guys. By the time I was 15, I started my first relationship with a guy. We've been together for almost 5 years. It was my first serious relationship, let's say. And I learned a lot about myself, and I basically changed a lot because in the period from 15 to 20, let's say, it's a huge transformation that every one of us went through. And by the time I joined my high school, which was art high school in a bigger city than my hometown, I completely changed my way of thinking about life, about society, about authorities, about gender identities, because our school was very diverse in the term of like how we all looked in our class, or what religions people believed, what genders, what sexuality they have. So it was like really open-minded environment.
What genders? Is having a gender identity, does two people with two different gender identities but otherwise identical, is that diversity? I don't know. I don't think you can just call yourself something and now you're a different class of person to someone else. That's why I don't like what trans has become. Because it is just fundamentally about calling yourself something other than what you are at this point.
Also with the teachers that really helped me to develop critical thinking and also to realize what's going on in the world. And so I started to experiment with myself. I started to put a little bit of makeup. I started to dress in different way that were more expressing my creativity and my politic attitude. Long story short, after I broke up with this first partner, I realized that he really didn't like all of the feminine attributes that I was experimenting with. Either it was nail polish, either it was feminine clothes or makeup, he really...
Yeah, I mean, this must be very normal, especially like relationships when you're younger. You haven't found yourself yet. You kind of start finding yourself as it goes on, and your partner might not like some of the new things that you're trying out. They might be much more attracted to like masculine guys, and you're realizing that your preferences aren't with the masculine. All this, I think, is quite normal.
Really try to suppress everything. I broke up with him, of course, because I hate when someone is taking my freedom and not allowing me to express myself.
That's a very bizarre way of putting it. Are they taking your freedom, or are you just realizing that you're not as similar as you think? Are they taking away your freedom Or are they just not personally into what you're turning into? That's fine. Like, maybe it's not going to work out. A weird way to put it, saying, oh, he's taking away my freedom by not being down with this, that, or the other. Like, relationships are compromises, ultimately. Surely, in almost any relationship, there is a sense of, like, you're not as free to do this, that, and the other as you were. You're not necessarily free to go fuck someone else. Stuff like that.
And be fully who I am. But as years went by, I realized in a gay community, it's a type of value that you have as a male body gay person that you giving when you are dating or hooking up. And the more masculine you are, the more straight presenting or straight looking you are, the more value you have for the gay.
I think this is probably true, based on what I know. Like, I'm not gay myself. I've never been gay. I've tried it once or twice. Didn't work for me. I think what he's saying here is true. Like, you get a lot of mask for mask, all this, like, you know, guys wanting straight acting guys. What I found when I used to go gay clubbing is you'd kind of always have the same group of, like, twinky gay guys, and some of them have, like, fucked each other and stuff. But they don't want each other. And then when it's like someone new comes along, especially if they're a bit more like masculine, like they're kind of getting all the attention, you know what I mean? And those kinds of people come and go. And the constants are like the twinky guys that are always looking for someone new, you know what I mean? And they don't want each other. They want someone more masculine.
Gay community. It's crazy because it all goes to the internalized homophobia and misogyny.
I think it's a bit bizarre to talk about internalized misogyny or internalized homophobia when you're talking about how you're a gay man, but you're not actually a man, when you are clearly a man, you know? Like, you're trying to label yourself out of being a gay man at a certain point. So it's a bit bizarre for that person to make that criticism. Maybe there is, like, I don't know. Like, I guess when you talk about straight acting, that does seem a bit homophobic. So I guess that is fair enough to talk about in terms of, like, internalized homophobia. But you kind of seem like you go in the opposite direction, you know?
A lot of gay guys have. And it took me many years to realize misogyny, a lot of...
Like, internalized misogyny. Like, I don't know. Maybe some of them are like, oh, well, they're acting like women. I don't want people that act like women. So maybe there's some of that. But then, can you be a male and have internalized misogyny? Isn't that just misogyny at that point?
To the internalized homophobia and misogyny a lot of gay guys have.
To be fair, he said internalized homophobia and misogyny. He might not have meant like internalized misogyny. I was about to say that'd be very strange. I don't really think men have internalized misogyny. It's just straight misogyny.
And it took me many years to realize that and to get rid of that, because I ended up in a moment where I completely, first of all, burned out from my work, from my life. And second of all, when I look at the mirror, I was
taking being gay as an identity instead of sexuality. What even is acting gay? Surely you just are gay or aren't gay. There's no act. Well, acting gay, it's all stereotypes, isn't it? It's all, it's a bit like all the stuff he's describing as to why he's like not a man, because he liked certain girly things. We're talking about stereotypes. So we are it's okay to lean on stereotypes when you're discovering that you're non-binary or whatever. But then when it comes to like your dating preferences, you can't. It's a bit strange. But like when they talk about acting gay, they're talking about stereotypes. They're talking about the limp wrist and all the other stuff.
I was just like, this is not who I am. This is, it was really difficult. And
I mean, looking at yourself, this is not how I am, so I try a different like fashion sense. Are you looking at like who you are? Or are you just talking about preference? I don't know. It's hard to explain what I'm thinking here, but I don't know. You could take out all this like non-binary stuff. He's like a gay man who wants to be feminine. Like, cool. That shouldn't be a problem. If someone gives you shit for that, there's a problem there, you know? Some people aren't anticipating drastic physical change in their partner. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And if you're young, like you're more at risk of that kind of thing. Because you haven't found yourself yet. If you start a relationship at 15, you look a certain way. Your preferences are still developing. And yeah, like it's a bit much to say, oh, well, they didn't like me looking completely different and stuff. They're taking away my freedom. Well, it's like, well, they find a certain thing attractive and you're moving away from that. Like, that's fair enough. Maybe it means you shouldn't be together. I don't know if it's worth like indicting someone's character over. At the same time, we don't know what this person's partner was like. Maybe they were like controlling in other ways and stuff like that. There are ways that it could make sense, but we don't really mention any of that. We're not really talking about that kind of thing. Just questioning the performance aspect. Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah. And I think part of like gender identity and stuff like that is internalizing stereotypes. We've already heard this person talk about wanting longer hair as a kid and wanting to try on women's clothes. So they are kind of internalizing their performance of like female stereotypes as opposed to male ones, which either way is bad. And I'm sure I did the same thing as well. Like, I mean, I definitely did. I have all these preferences for like wearing makeup, having long hair and stuff like that. I think I did internalize that. But you're internalizing like social shit. You're internalizing stereotypes. And that doesn't really make you something other than what you are.
I want to cry just thinking about it back then, because I was really down. I think it was the lowest point of my life. I was in Paris in 2020 and COVID just started. And it was this panic about, quarantine, people dying, the world is going to end. And I was just alone in my apartment in Paris. And on top of that, with my gender dysphoria and burnout, it was tough. Long story short, I went back to Czech Republic. I had 3 weeks of quarantine.
Okay, so he's from Czech. That makes
sense. And I started my therapy. My first therapy in life. I want to also address that
I'm sure we had, what was that, who are those people that make those like LGBT acceptance maps and they've got like the different countries and where they rank? I'm sure Czech was like low down, like way further down than the UK. And the person that was showing it was being like, well, the UK is on stage 8 of the genocide. Like, where the fuck is Czech at in that regard then? Fucking hell.
The first therapist I found, it was
yeah, a twink is like a feminine gay man.
School psychologist didn't really help me because we just didn't click. And with a therapist, it's like with your partners. You need to click, you need to have the connection, and you need to feel that the person is understanding you and ideally been through something similar that you are going through, which in my...
That a bit dodgy. You want a therapist that's been through similar things to you. Like, I don't know about that, bro. Sometimes maybe you need the opposite.
Case, the therapist really wasn't. But it helped me at least to start this journey of self-discovery and self-development. And I just decided finally to do something with it. And I think that's one of the most important first step you're gonna do is to decide you wanna do something with it. Another step that I decided to do was to get a hair transplant, because by the time I was balding a lot and I was going back, in the past when I was a kid.
Those are not cheap, by the way. That is the one like treatment I probably still would go for, is like getting like my hairline filled in, because it's not great. Like, it's not great. That's the one thing I'd probably do still. I also think like we should be careful. Again, you get a hair transplant, you enjoy it more. I think any guy that doesn't like the fact that he's balding, irrespective of gender identity, would feel better when it starts growing out and it starts looking like better, you know what I mean? I think it's risky to like internalize that kind of thing. Oh, I have more hair and now I'm happier. That means I must be X, Y, or Z. Like, you got to be careful with that. Lockdown fucked up a lot of these mega autists. Listen, I'm one of them. Like, fucking lot of problems came up. Like, Jesus Christ. So far, he hasn't said anything I couldn't apply to myself and most people I know. The difference is that trans was around. Yeah, it's just what people latch onto. It's just what people internalize and decide, oh, that means this, when there isn't really a need for that. And you might feel like, oh, well, I've decided on this now, I can put that to bed. But like, you still might feel a certain way. You still might realize that actually you still have other problems that no amount of self-identification is going to fix.
kid trying to put the t-shirts on my head pretending that I have long hair and stuff. And I just realized, oh, okay, so the long hair in my case means expressing my femininity, feeling.
Yes, here we go. Internalizing stereotypes. This doesn't make you anything.
My femininity. So just
feeling your femininity. Femininity is not an innate trait because femininity is based on stereotypes. It's a social thing. Like if you go to a different country, all of this might be extremely masculine. You know what I mean? Then you're not feminine anymore. So like, well, you can't be feminine or masculine. Not innately. Whether you're feminine or masculine or not is like society dependent. It's like context dependent. Again, I think people need to be careful of internalizing like masculinity and femininity.
It's like, okay, I had this opportunity to get a...
And once again, are we not just kind of defining woman based on so-called womanly traits? Having long hair. Well, not all women have long hair. Plenty of women have short hair and are still very feminine. You know what I mean? Like, you could take that with anything. Plenty of women don't wear makeup and are still very feminine.
Hair transplant. I was really lucky and privileged to have that opportunity, and I'm so grateful for that. If you want to know the clinic where I get...
Like on the flip side, you get some women, they have long hair and that's probably the most feminine thing about them. A lot of other things about them are very masculine.
At my hair transplant, ask me in the comments and I will share the link for this clinic.
My husband would slap you for calling long hair feminine. Well, yeah, like, that's the flip side. Like, it's typically something more seen on women than men. That doesn't mean that it's like an innately female or male thing, or masculine or feminine thing. You could have a man with long hair, and he's not feminine in any way, shape, or form, for sure.
Clinic. And so after that, when the hair started, and I'm so grateful for that. If you want to know the clinic where I get my hair transplant...
Okay, I thought this was something else. But...
ask me in the comments and I will share the link for this clinic. And so after...
I love you, Mary.
Okay, so as a bisexual, my taste in men are more feminine twinks like him. I prefer that to someone who looks like John Cena or Stone Cold Steve Austin, but at the same time growing your hair out isn't feminine.
Thank you, Yamazaki Lucio, for the $5. I hear what you're saying, yeah. Like, internalizing something like this, when long hair means lots of different things, depending on the context, depending on who's wearing it. Like just saying, well, I grew my hair out and I'm more feminine. Therefore, it's the therefore thing. You just enjoy, you have the preferences for the feminine, you know what I mean? The same as me. I just have preferences for the feminine and I internalize that. But it was wrong of me to do so. Like, I'm lucky that I don't regret anything. That I didn't want like kids or anything. Because I went through the whole like process a long time ago. But I think that's where the problem lies. We're being taught to like internalize the ways in which we are feminine when we're male, the ways in which we are masculine when we're female. I just don't see the need for it. I don't think it really helps anyone. Like it's understandable to feel like alien to other people. Like if you're male, to feel alien to other male people because you want to be all feminine and stuff. You want to look a certain way that's not really associated with males in general. And none of the other males you know are like that. It can certainly be othering. It can certainly be like alienating. But again, it's the problem of, well, then we conclude, oh, I must be something else because I'm nothing like all those other people. Well, who you are isn't based on other people. Who you are isn't really based that much on society, ultimately.
After that, when the hair started to grow, I was slowly feeling I'm taking my power back, you know? And it was really nice feeling.
How many bald men feel this exact same way when they get a hair transplant and they're not bald anymore? Like how many guys go out there and take like finasteride and stuff like that? Like it's not a meaningful thing unless you apply meaning to it, which is what this person's doing, I think.
Feeling of like finally pretty, feeling confident and trusting this journey that I just started, you know? Long story short,
we started a journey by getting a hair transplant.
The hair grew, as you can see, and it's been 5 years. I'm on this journey of slowly transitioning and becoming the person I really...
Like Transitioning. Transitioning to what? To calling yourself something else? Well, you can just do that for free.
Feel. But during these past 5 or 3 years, let's say, I went through a lot of realizations, a lot of mistakes I did, a lot of shame, a lot of internalized homophobia, transphobia, misogyny.
Like, what does any of this even mean? Do we get any descriptions of? I mean, it's almost the end of the video. I was doing a lot of internalized transphobia. What does that mean? How can you have internalized transphobia? I don't know how that even works. Like, trans is not an innate thing. And if it's internalized, surely you have to be that thing in order to do that. Like, can I really have internalized misogyny as a male person? Or is it just straight misogyny? Like, I'd need any of this describing in any way.
And I needed to do a lot of work to grow and get rid of it. And so we finally get into this moment now. It's year 2025. And I'm starting my YouTube channel sharing this journey. Thank you so much for watching this first.
I mean, I'll say one thing in counter to that. Like, maybe they're sort of doing this as an intro. They'll expand more. I like, listen, it's not like they seem like a bad person or anything. I question this kind of thing because it's like swept through society. And like in trans circles, you have to accept all of this kind of stuff. And I'm past all that now. I don't think there really is much to all this gender stuff. You're male or female, you can pretty much do what you want. I think that's a much better way of looking at it. I think obsessing over these labels and encouraging each other to do so is not helpful. Like, what have we really described? What have I learned about transitioning as a non-binary person? Except, oh, I have preferences for stereotypically feminine things when I'm male, sorry. Well, I mean, that's fairly normal. I would say there's very few men that have no feminine tendencies whatsoever or no feminine preferences whatsoever. I think a lot of it is just internalizing societal shit. I don't think that's helpful for anyone, honestly. Like, you internalized being expected to be masculine as a male and then started internalizing your preferences for the feminine. I think all of that is like, I don't think it's healthy. It's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. I'm still working a lot of this shit out ultimately. It's just very overblown. I don't know. I'd much rather just hear this person talk about their experiences, like as a gay man, honestly. Because that's what he is.
Video. I hope it will find the right people. And in the next video, I'm going to share what I've been through these last 3 years and what...
Okay, so listen, I'll kind of mediate some of the stuff I was saying with saying that this seems to be like an intro. And I guess, I don't know, I'll listen to some stuff and see if it starts making more sense. I would like to understand non-binary better. I don't just want to sit here the whole time being like, oh, it's just calling yourself something. Oh, it's just fashion. The problem is, it's always explained in terms of hair length. What is hair length? Well, it's fashion. So, like, I don't know. If I watch, like, 100 videos about what it means to be this, that, or the other, and what I get is meaningless, then what am I supposed to think? You know what I mean? It's not about hating on this person. I don't hate this person. I know them. I have anything against them. I'm just interested in this particular line of reasoning. This, like I said, this stuff swept through like trans circles. You have to accept all this kind of stuff or you get ostracized. I just think that's crazy. If I listen to something like this and I deduce that it's pretty meaningless and just about fashion, does that make me a bad person? I'm happy to say I don't think this person's a bad person. I don't think anyone taking on like an identity like this is a bad person. I just don't see the meaning. I don't think it often sticks. I think a lot of the time, these people might get some short-term like relief from it because they feel a certain amount of dysphoria for perhaps what they're expected to be versus what they want to be. I think people have to realize that eventually. It's certainly something I had to realize. People don't realize the journey is the destination, so it's far too late. Maybe. I'll think about that more. But yeah, listen, I hope it's clear. I don't hate these people. It's not about hating on them. I want to learn as much as I can. Problem is, everything I watch doesn't teach me anything. It's just the same thing over and over. So I don't know what I'm supposed to think. I don't know what I'm supposed to think. I'm just a bad person. There's nothing I can do about it. Because when I listen to this kind of stuff, it just sounds like internalized stereotypes times a million. I think a lot of other people hear this kind of thing and feel similar to me. Why doesn't there have to be some kind of understanding then? Some kind of mutual understanding where it's like, well, this is how I feel, this is how I identify, but if other people don't want to see me that way, it's up to them. Wouldn't that be fine? Like if someone like this says, well, I think I'm a woman, but if other people don't see me as one and don't hear what I'm saying and think, oh, that's a woman, then that's fine. Like there wouldn't really be a problem, surely. And that's where I'd like to get, ultimately. Because I truly believe that. Like, just identifying as something isn't a problem, as long as it's not pathological. As long as it's not driving you to do this, that, and the other that is bad for you. It's more like the results of disagreeing with people. Where we found something because it's your identity that you can enforce. I don't like the enforcement aspect of it. Like, fucking hell, I don't know, man. Like, my partner's non-binary. I don't care about it in abstract. I just don't want to be forced to see meaning in something where I don't see meaning in it. I'm sorry. I feel like a bad person for disagreeing. I don't feel like a bad person at all. There's a lot of people that think that what I do is watch this thing, these kind of things, for the purpose of pointing and laughing. Oh, look at this deranged fucking delusional person. It's not like that, fucking hell. I don't know if I think this person's delusional. Like, that depends on an awful lot of stuff that I'm not privy to. And there's stuff that they describe vaguely that I criticize for, that you then make clear, well, that's kind of future content. That's fine. I get that. You comply with the ideology or leave the group. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I want to get rid of. Like, can't we just agree to disagree on stuff like this? Oh, well, you're agreeing to disagree on my identity. Well, I'm not privy to your identity. I can't see your identity. I don't know. She's always been non-binary. That probably predates like us getting together, I would have thought. Like this isn't like a development. I don't care. It's fine. Like that doesn't really say anything to me, honestly. And that's kind of the point, but in abstract, someone wants to call themselves non-binary, fine. That's cool. Do what you want. Is it birthday time? Yeah, I'm 35. Crazy, isn't it? Some people think I look 20, and some people think I look in my 40s. I'm getting the gamut, you know what I mean? And I'm somewhere in the middle, so that's fine. He looks lovely, but I don't see a woman. Well, yeah. There's nothing wrong. That's the other thing. When you sort of say, well, it's wrong to call me a man, well, that suggests that there's some moral weight behind being a man or being a woman. That when you call someone a man when they don't feel like one, that's offensive. Why is that offensive? Someone sees you as a man. What's wrong with being a man in abstract? You don't feel like one? Well, I don't know. People call me things I don't feel like all the time. People call me a right-winger. I don't feel like a fucking right-winger. People call me a pick-me. I don't think I'm a pick-me. I don't feel like that. Should I then get offended? Are they morally wrong to say that kind of shit about me? I don't know. I don't see the need for the offense. I don't see the need for like the enforcement of these identity labels. Just take on what works for you. And if other people don't see it in you, well, no one says they have to. No one's privy to your identity. No one can see what you feel like. And I think more people need to understand that, honestly. And maybe this person does. I don't know. Like, I watch things, I have thoughts about them. I'm not saying that everything I think is about this person necessarily. I'm trying to learn more about all these different kinds of things. You have to watch a few videos to conclude that. Yeah. I understand that people are going to see like snippets of things and react. Where if they actually just watched a bit more and just fucking listened a bit, they'd understand me far better. I understand that people are not always going to get me. But like, this is the one aspect where it's different when it comes to people's identities. That's the one aspect where it's like, well, you can't just agree to disagree. It's bizarre.
About all the obstacles and things you need to face in the beginning of your transition before even getting to hormones. If you watched until
Like, So then they're trans then. If they're going to be going on to hormones, then they're trans. Like, you're not... I don't... Again, we come back to people doing the same thing, but applying different meaning to it. So then most people that look like this and are going to take hormones and stuff, they're trans. But then this person's not saying they're trans, they're saying they're non-binary, but they're doing the same thing as someone would be doing if they were trans. It's like, what's actually the difference? I would settle for just having any kind of fucking coherent definition for any of these words anymore. And like for me, I do feel a certain way when I do something which is commonly understood to mean trans, but now trans is also commonly understood to mean about 50 other things. That makes me feel that I don't really know what I am anymore, in a way. But no one seems to care about that. No one seems to care about the dissonance it creates with someone when they understand something to mean one thing, and someone does that same thing, but it means something else, or does something completely different and unrelated, and it means the same thing as what you've done. That creates a lot of dissonance. That I feel like in trans circles, we've just been told, well, deal with it. Well, that's how it is now. And you're a bigot if you don't get with the program. I think that's nuts.
Till this moment, thank you so much again, and please subscribe.
Well, listen, that was interesting at least. I don't think I learned an awful lot, unfortunately. But hey, listen. If it gets me thinking, that's at least something. Born too beautiful to be a boy, too handsome to be a girl. Why can't boys be beautiful? Why can't girls be handsome? We already know that's not true, because there's some very beautiful men out there, some very handsome women out there. Like, we are very much reinforcing stereotypes and trying to redefine the sexes based on stereotypes instead of just what's innate to you. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's helpful. I think that probably drives a lot of these complexes. Like, now we feel, oh, well, I can't be feminine and be a boy at the same time. Now I have to be something else. I don't think that's good for people at all. When you consider what that drives people to, which is hormone treatment, stuff like that, well, might they not have just been happy being a boy, but being feminine? You know? Anyway, that's probably about it. Probably about it for that one. But listen, good luck to them. If this works out, if this makes them happy, then great. You know, fair play to you.